Hello, Baker. It's Shamir with another episode of Baker Forward. It is indeed a pleasure to be here. Hope you had a great month. Hope your family is doing very well. We're here tonight to talk about infrastructure and economic development. I wanted to get right to this because for the last 4 years, I've been talking to you about quality of place and quality of life. And as we move forward in this administration here, my main focus has always been on education and economic development, which gives you a good quality of place and a good quality of life. And economic development revolves around influence and growth. And that's pretty much what we're doing. That's what we're doing throughout the city to improve growth. We are influencing that. We basically are willing that in the city. And the best way to achieve that is by what we're doing, by the marketing and by building infrastructure that meets the economic development as it starts to grow. See, you cannot grow your city. The city cannot expand outside of where we are now if we just continue to grow internally. We have to grow externally outside of the city and meet the expectations that's going on around us. And that's what we're doing with the infrastructure to be able to meet that. We have to update the infrastructure, and so we're using the technology to do that. Most of the infrastructure that we've had in Baker have been here for about 60 or 70 years. It's time to replace that as we start to build. Even when developers come in and start to build new subdivisions, the technology has changed so much when it comes to sewage and water and gas and how we put that and how we build that now, how we build mixed use. All that is important. And so we have to have new policies in place, new zoning in place, and it's just a really big deal to be able to meet the expectation of economic development as we move forward. Let's talk a little bit about what it takes to do that. We'll go to the next slide and we'll talk about these few things here. Transportation is important. Mass transportation is really important to me. I continue to support the CATS operations throughout. I really believe that mass transportations are not just for people with low income. Mass transportation, they move people from place to place and they create business. You can work for Amazon in one location and live in another location, but Amazon has to get their workforce there. Now, and all mass transportation does is gives you another opportunity to move those people. Now, we understand the traffic situation in Baton Rouge, and Mayor Broome is doing a great job with working with that. And so we want to help her on this end with mass transportation to be able to get people around. And not only that, we're talking about using bicycles, Uber, Lyft, all the transportation that we can come up with so you can move around when you want to move around our city. Now, with the park coming and being able to go down from one end of Baker to the other, bike paths are really a big deal, and we want those walking paths too. We want to be able so people can walk and be comfortable, especially in the areas where we have our schools and those different areas there. Marketing the city is what we're doing now. We do that all the time. Development, always develop or redeveloping what we have. We have a lot of great infrastructure. We have a lot of great subdivisions that's in this city. We just want to redevelop that. We want to keep that history. Business retention and expansion is one and the same. Well, you want to expand out, but you have to keep the businesses that we have. That's where you guys come in. You guys got to be mindful that Shop Baker, Shop Local is very important. It sends the love to the businesses that we have here to keep them. And when new businesses see how we treat the old business, they come in. The business climate, we are a business climate. My philosophy is that I work well with the businesses all the time. I spend most of my time talking to the businesses because they create an environment of growth. Small businesses, not always the big corporations, but the small businesses has built America, and they'll continue to do that. Tourism, that's a word that is going to be very important in the next year and a half when the park is here. We get an additional 350,000 people coming into this area, coming into this city. We will have tourism flowing throughout Baker. Workforce development, keeping jobs, building the workforce. building a workforce that lives in and around Baker. That's important to the growth of the city also. And so we have to do everything to make that happen. Our workforce development is growing. We've hired somebody there. I want to thank Harold Rito, the former mayor, for that vision. That was a great vision. I'm going to take that and move it forward, that we can create that workforce for the industries that we have around this area. We have some great industries here. We want to get our workforce there. Everybody does not want to go to college, but if they decide they want to hit a trade, we're going to give them the opportunity to do that in Baker. And neighborhood revitalization. I always mess that word up all the time, but you guys know what I'm talking about, okay? Making the neighborhoods better, creating what's going on in the future. We don't want to go back to the way Baker was. We are writing our own narrative and we are creating our own future. So look, let me show you what's going on in the city right now so you guys can get a good view. We'll go to the next slide to see all the work. This is everything that's happening in the city right now. It's going on at the same time. It's all connected to what's happening in your city. So I wanted you to understand what's really going on. I hear people saying, I don't know what's going on, what's happening in Baker. Well, I'm telling you now, we've planted the seeds and now we've watered it and things are starting to come up. And growth is going to create other challenges, but understand that the growth of the city is very important right now as we move forward, so get ready for it. So young, old, white, black, it doesn't matter. We're all inclusive. We're an inclusive city. We're all going to enjoy it together. So look, I just wanted you guys to get this. We have a wonderful show coming next. The next segments, we're going to talk about the commit, diversion, and all that's going on right now from the person who knows it the best. So you guys, look, I got to pay a few bills, but make sure you come right back. I got something special for you. I'll be right back.
If you own or are planning to start a business, you need to take a hard look at Baker, your one-stop shop for business, city licensing, services, and sensible tax rates. With low crime, it's a stone's throw from downtown Baton Rouge, the airport, and it's on the river with railways. Baker is not landlocked. Plank Road presents the traffic businesses need, and Main Street offers a hometown atmosphere. Baker and business are moving forward together. Are you looking to build or purchase a home? You need to take a hard look at Baker. Small town atmosphere that's good for families. Baker has everything you need. Shops, doctors, hospitals. It's near the airport and a stone's throw from downtown Baton Rouge. No traffic hassles and lots of community activities to be involved in. Ranked as one of the safest cities in Louisiana, Baker and families are moving forward together.
Welcome back, Baker. This evening, we have a unique show for you. We are really gonna get into the conversation about the Comite Diversion Canal. And the only person that I've learned about the canal from is the gentleman that's sitting next to me tonight. And I want to introduce to you all this gentleman, and I'm going to let him tell a little bit about himself. And but you're going to be interested in what we're talking about tonight, because it's basically the information that probably needed to be out months ago. So, Mr. DeMar, how you doing, sir?
Doing fine, Mayor, and thank you for inviting me to come to the show and talk a little bit about this Comite River Diversion Canal project. My name is Dietmar Richier, which is not easy to remember, but I am the Executive Director of the Amite River Basin Commission. And so I have been working with that commission for over 18 years. And very quickly, have been involved in some other projects that never got through, like the Darlington Reservoir and some other projects at the very beginning. But the project that survived over the years with federal and state monies primarily and our tax dollars is the Commit River Diversion Canal. Also, East Baton Rouge Parish got some funds lately on their drainage improvements. But that is my background, basically. I've been working with this project for many years, and we finally were able to get full federal funding about 2 years ago.
Right.
And so that really catapulted the project forward. It is under full construction right now. It might not be so evident because it's only 3 roads that you can see some activity going on.
Right.
And so, but we are moving. It's going to be projected now to be finished at the end of 2022.
Okay, so this has been going on for a long time. I guess about 20 years that we've been trying to get the project done. Now, we talked about this before. Me and you've talked about this before years ago. How is this going to affect the Baker, the Zachary, the central area? How is this going to affect North Baton Rouge?
It's going to be extremely beneficial for the simple reason that the canal, the diversion canal, will divert about 40% of the water coming from the upper Commit subbasin, diverted into the Mississippi River.
Right.
So what does that mean for these communities below the canal, primarily Baker, Zachary, and Central to some extent, is that all of that water will not be coming down this way anymore.
Right.
You still will see high water, but you can think in terms that about 40% of the excess water coming from the northern part of the basin
Right.
will not come down this way anymore. It will basically be diverted into the Mississippi River.
Now, that is, you told me that, and that got me excited. Here's why. I just did a segment and we talked about economic development. And so a lot of the land in between that at the south end of the canal is really open now for development. It could be open for development. That's what you're saying? I mean, we're not going to be completely dry, but it gives us a better opportunity for growth.
That is correct. Because basically what it will do, it will reduce the flood stages, what they call the flood station, meaning
Right.
that you will not have the level of inundation. And of course, that will open up potentially some areas for development, because we are achieving through that diversion, believe it or not, flood stage reductions in the neighborhood of 5 feet.
Really?
5.
That's a lot.
Feet.
Yeah.
And so that translates into some areas that are not going to flood, basically.
Right.
Like they flood right now.
Okay.
So yeah, that is going to be a big plus. Of course, as regulations will be developed, we always have to keep in mind the safety and make sure that everything is done correctly.
Okay, there's been some a lot of talk about the people who got this done, and so when we come back, we want to talk a little bit about that. But when we come back after the break, tell us how this works and what's going on and how we get that water, how we move that water to the Mississippi. And you did talk about years ago of turning that into something really, really nice on that end. But just real quickly, tell us who's involved with this process real quickly.
It involves the project itself, the construction and everything else involves, because we're getting federal funds for that, involves the Army Corps of Engineers,
Right.
the Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development, and the Amite River Basin. We are the smaller partner of the group. Plus, the city of Baton Rouge has committed to maintain that canal once it is built.
To maintain it.
To maintain it. And that is the original agreement, and it still exists today. So
Right.
that is the composition of the management group, if you want to call it.
Right.
Yes.
Now that's a big deal, and we need to hit on that when we come back. So, ladies and gentlemen, we've talked about the Comit Diversion Canal and what is the benefits of it for Baker, Zachary, and even Central in this area here. It's about quality of life, quality of place. But Mr. DeMar talked about something that, we have all these organizations working to do this. This is gonna change the game in this area here all the way down the line, because the amount of water that does not come into Baker or Zachary means that the amount of water that does not go into East Baton Rouge Parish and to their canals, the water is diverted another way, which means that it gives us an opportunity, even during the local rains, that the water can flow out. So look, when we come back, we're going to talk about how this thing is done. And I'm going to let Mr. DeMar talk to you about that. We're going to go pay a few bills. We'll be right back.
If you own or are planning to start a business, you need to take a hard look at Baker, your one-stop shop for business, city licensing, services, and sensible tax rates. With low crime, it's a stone's throw from downtown Baton Rouge, the airport, and it's on the river with railways. Baker is not landlocked. Plank Road presents the traffic businesses need, and Main Street offers a hometown atmosphere. Baker and business are moving forward together. Are you looking to build or purchase a home? You need to take a hard look at Baker. Small town atmosphere that's good for families. Baker has everything you need. Shops, doctors, hospitals. It's near the airport and a stone's throw from downtown Baton Rouge. No traffic hassles and lots of community activities to be involved in. Ranked as one of the safest cities in Louisiana, Baker and families are moving forward together.
To put him out here. Welcome back, Baker. That segment was really, really, really interesting. I'm excited about all that's going on. Now, I do want to mention this, that there was a lot of people involved in what's going on. We waited a long time, but I do know that Congressman Graves played a big part in this. Congressman Graves, we're talking about everything was funded. And this was funded by the feds, and he had a lot to do with it. And there was a lot of people involved in it, but I really want to send a shout out to him and his people for the job that they did to get this done. I'm excited because we're the first people, we're the first one on that line when the water comes down out of Zachary through there. So that's why I'm really, really excited. We're going to continue this conversation. We want to bring up some slides and we want to show you and let Mr. DeMar talk to you about the canal, the diversion canal itself, and the amount of water that is going to take off everywhere. I know we have the next slide there, Mr. DeMar. So that one right there. Can you just explain that one a little bit to everybody?
Yes. What you will have is a map that shows what's called the stage reductions at different locations along the Comit, all the way from this area here in the Baker area all the way down to Denham Springs, basically. And we expect the canal will divert about, like I said, 40% of the water to the Mississippi River. What does that translate in terms of volume? Okay. That is about 20,000 cubic feet per second of water is going to go into the Mississippi. Like 20,000 basketballs.
Wow.
Will give you an idea of the size of what this is. Well, by reducing that, it lowers the stages in the Baker area. Excuse me. Under the 100-year, I'm going to only talk about the last line because it's different floods floods, 25-year flood, 10-year flood, but those are small floods.
Right.
But the one that counts is the bottom line, which is the 100-year flood. That is the one that people associate with the big inundations.
Right.
That will reduce that water level by about 5 feet in the Baker area.
That's gonna be great. Let's take
correct.
a look at the next slide.
The
and
next,
we talk about Hooper Road and
Hooper
the
Road.
Comeet.
Okay. On Hooper Road, I'm looking at mine here. At Hooper Road, the expected reductions of the 100-year flood is about 4.5 feet.
That's pretty good.
It reduces, it gets less and less for a reason that you have tributaries, drainage from other areas that come into the river.
Right.
As more and more comes in, so to speak, those lowerings are less and less and less.
Right.
If you go to the next slide, which I believe is going to be Comeet they call it, is the Greenwood Spring area.
Right.
That is expected to be about, I'm trying to see that here, about 2 feet.
About 2 feet.
And it goes down. Then the next one I got here is actually on Hurricane Creek, and that is also about it's a little bit more. Well, let me go to Deno Springs. Deno Springs is expected to be 1.5 feet.
That's pretty good because at the 100-year mark, and then Hurricane Creek is 4.1
Yes,
feet.
sir, that's correct.
And then that's taking pressure off of all those areas.
That is correct. The reason why you get lower and lower stage reduction as you go down, number one, is because what I said earlier, there are tributaries that discharge into the Comeet, and
Right.
more water is charged into the system. But where the big difference occurs is when it hits the Amite River.
Right.
The Comeet is what's called a tributary of the Amite River. And so what happened is, if you look at the statistical history of the floods, in general, 70% of the water that comes down the Amite and Comeet at Deno Springs
Right.
comes from the Amite.
Okay, so
So-
that is important. So now the AME will basically, it would help with their levels.
It will help some.
It would help some
It
with
will
their
help
levels
some.
right
Yes,
there.
sir. So
And so now, when the water goes into the Mississippi, is that water flowing? Which way is the Mississippi flowing? Is it flowing?
of course, the Mississippi is flowing south. And by the way, this canal is what's called a gravity flow, meaning we have no pumps. We don't do any pumpage.
Right.
It's all the diversion that we're going to achieve is through gravity, what is called,
Through
meaning
gravity.
it's going to be flowing. And it will, when the Comeet River rises from its normal flow, approximately 5 feet,
Yes, sir.
at that point it starts diverting.
Okay.
It starts diverting when it reaches that level, and eventually, as it goes up and up and up, more water coming, you're going to, like I said, when it comes to the maximum capacity, it will divert those 20,000 cubic feet per second.
Okay, this is what I wanted to ask you real quick. The whole process, whose idea was this? Who engineered this? Was you a part of the process in the beginning?
Yes, the Amite River Basin Commission was very instrumental in putting this together because the legislature created us around 1983
Okay,
for the purpose of looking at this whole basin.
right.
And that initiated the process with the federal government, Army Corps of Engineers, to study this basin.
Right.
And they came up with several projects.
Okay.
Comeet, Darlington, the East Baton Rouge Parish projects. That's what it came up at that time. We were able to sustain the Comeet. And then what made the big break was that we were able to pass a 3 mil tax in the year 2000.
That's right.
And that is really what got the project going slowly. But we were nurturing it until, like you said earlier, thanks to, we got all of a sudden federal funds,
Right.
100% federal
fund.
funds.
That's powerful.
And that is very significant.
That's significant. So, listen, you guys, I hope that you understand the significance of this project It's been a long time coming. But like Pete Heine says that, yeah, it took a minute, but it's here. And I talked to him this morning, told him you was going to be on the show. He told me to tell you hello. And he's thankful that he's still living to see it come to fruition. And so it's going to be a big deal, you guys. I just wanted to bring Mr. Dietmar here so he can explain it to you. All the years that I've been watching and listening to this, he's been the one to be able to explain it where I can understand it. So it's a big deal. So look, go back to the show and look at it on YouTube so you can get the information. But this is very, very, very powerful. I want to thank you for being on the show. Thank you for taking time away to come. I know that you talked about being retired soon. Please don't go anywhere. Stay as long as they keep you. We need you around here. But thank you for your service on this, because what's going to happen now is going to change a lot. Not only for East Baton Rouge Parish, it's going to change a lot for Ascension Parish, Livingston Parish. It's just going to open up the doors what we needed. And so we finally came together something, and I appreciate you on that. Well, look, you guys, I got to go. I hope you enjoyed the show tonight. Thank you for always tuning in here. And don't forget that if you guys want to contact us, go ahead and get our go to our website. Always text LA Baker Updates to 468-311, 468-311. Love you all. Have a great month. Baker strong always. Thank you.